I thank you everybody for joining us on the Conscious Life Expo podcast. My name is Melanie, and today we have a very special guest. His name is Benton Ryer, and he specializes in esoteric Shinto. He is going to be hosting a free workshop and a post-conference at the Conscious Life Expo. And so let me introduce Benton. How are you doing today, Benton?
I am good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you very much. And
Good.
so before we cover your workshop and your post-conference details, let's introduce you and what you do and your history and what you have to offer.
All right. Well, I practice esoteric Shinto. Shinto is the indigenous religion of Japan, except it's not really a religion. And if you ask any Shinto priests if it is or not, they'll be hesitant to say that. It's more about the spirituality of the surrounding world and living in harmony with it. I also have the ability to remove impurities from people's energetic bodies. I remove pain, I remove headaches. I have people that come to me, they have things like, let me just give an example. Maybe they're going through chemotherapy. I can flush out the effects of the radiation poisoning based pretty much instantly. Autoimmune disease, I have people who come to my groups for that, and a host of other things, mystery illnesses, back pain, whatever.
Nice. And how did you get into this?
It just basically just came to me. I mean, not necessarily, it's a little bit more than that, but I've been doing stuff since I was like 13, and it kind of developed into what it is now. I actually have a 400-page book about that, but it's not out because I don't have a publisher yet. I think it's a little too much for people to kind of grasp, and maybe even a little ahead of its time. Although I don't think so, because I'm not saying anything that's never been said before.
And tell us more about your journey with this powerful ancient technique.
Well, I started really doing it during COVID, through Zoom or through Instagram Messenger and working with people through it. Um, COVID, I help people with that, among other things. Um, so people think I'm actually healing them. Like I'm taking their body and just like shooting it with energy and healing it. But that's not necessarily what I'm doing. I'm removing the impurities that cause whichever illness someone has. For example, well, I mean, let's just say that somebody has, oh, autoimmune disease. Like these conditions, they have a spirit. And once you detach the spirit from the physical abnormality, oh, I can't even pronounce what I'm saying. Um, the condition dies. The trick to it, the problem with it is that it's not always easy to remove it, and sometimes it takes more than one session, or it takes a multitude of them. Although sometimes I can get whatever it is within one session. Um, it also works on things going on with people psychologically, and it also helps release trauma. Um, the the trauma release aspect of it usually takes longer than the physical stuff. It takes longer for people to get over it than actual disease and physical injury, believe it or not. I have a tougher time with that. And to release trauma, it has to process through the mind. So when I work on somebody for the first time, they're a bit taken aback when something comes up, and they have to kind of live through it again so it can release. So the people that come to me for those type of traumatic releases, they usually don't come back because oftentimes they think maybe I did something to them. But if you don't release trauma, you get stuck in the same energetic patterns in the present if you don't release past trauma. And that's kind of like the psychological stance on trauma too, right? When people in therapy or therapists talk about you have to let trauma process, it's the same thing. But when we do it through the sessions, it often hits people hard.
Right, and I can imagine that, and I would also imagine that they would have to be in the space where they're ready to heal and let that go as well.
Yeah, well, the problem with that is most people aren't. They have this belief that if they hold it inside, then it can't really do anything to them. But it will catch up to them. Through somatic symptoms, it can turn into physical ailments.
Right,
Psy
yes,
Psychologically, I mean, that's medically proven.
definitely. So that might be why they're struggling with that healing. Um, so your audience, who is your audience and who are the types of people that you like to help?
Mostly people that come to me that have retention with are sick. They have something that they're going through. Um, Other people are just trying to open up their abilities more because they're blocked with impurities. That doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have impurities if they have abilities. It just means that there's something helping them or that they're open to it another way. I would say people that have open ability, they have more impurity because they're an open magnet to the unseen, unbeknownst to them, almost always.
What else can you tell us about the history of your work?
The history, well, Shinto is one of the oldest. This might very well be the oldest spiritual system in the world, and it started with female shaman in ancient Japan, and it's kind of like survived through the ages. Whereas a lot of old religions died, Shinto has integrated itself into everyday Japanese life. Whereas in the West, we see Christian influence everywhere. The stuff you see in anime and on Japanese movies that looks uniquely Japanese, it's all Shinto based. That's where it has its foundation. The gates, the shrines, it's all Shinto. And people don't give much thought to it. The main purpose of Shinto shrines is to practice misogi, or rites of purification, which is what I do on the energetic bodies.
And so you have your free workshop that's going to be coming up. That's called Power of Ancient Japanese Ritual. That is on Sunday, February 10th from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And you also mentioned that there's going to be one on Saturday. Is that right?
Probably will be. Like I said, last year I was scheduled for one, but I ended up being there every day and just doing the same thing at night. They went on till midnight because people had so many questions after what I was just doing, after I did what I was doing. Then I'm going to have a post-conference workshop where I kind of connect people to a specific element where they can do a form of purification on themselves with it. Um, so the Japanese elements are a little different than the in that there's more specific than the traditional esoteric elements of earth, wind, water, and fire, and spirit. Um, they get more specific. So like there's lightning and lava and fire and ice and water, things like that. So it kind of breaks it down into form too, or metal. And I will be teaching either earth or
Tell
fire.
us what we can expect at the workshop, and that's to embrace the power of ancient Japanese rituals.
You will be able to call in the energies to be able to expunge impurity. Um, I I I try to get people to only do it on themselves for at first for a while until they learn all the elements. But um, yeah, it's better that way. Until there's a better understanding of what they're doing, which it's safe, then they really should only kind of just do it for their self practice because everyone has impurity. So if people have been coming to my workshops for the past couple years, they'll notice I always bring something new and I can do more each time. Like I started when my first time I was at the Conscious Life Expo, I was only able to work on one at a time. Then I was able to do groups. I was able to do bigger groups. And now I don't even have to speak while I'm doing my groups. I could just say a few words and do the purification right. Because of that, it's because it from that the reason I'm able to do that is because I'm constantly removing these impurities from myself, and they go deep. They compound themselves through past lifetimes and a bunch of other stuff.
And so you'll be teaching people how to do this for themselves in your workshop?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, and I want to also add too, it's something that isn't subtle. It's quite noticeable.
Awesome. Is there anything else that we should expect at the workshop that is going to be this February?
I mean, I'll talk, answer questions. People usually have a lot. Like I said, my last workshops, they went all the way to midnight until we were kicked out. And I made sure that people that were experiencing pain and that stuff, I was able to remove it. So there's a threshold of disbelief when it comes to that. People simply think that, there's no way that he could do it because my so and so buddy or friend is the best or self-proclaimed best and they can't do it. Right? But when somebody calls themselves the best, they usually are never the best. I had an instance some time ago where someone had some back pain. I went to a workshop for someone else because I was supposed to go, and I worked on this individual and I removed the back pain. And the person running it was quite surprised, although they said, well, good. But you can see on their face they're quite surprised. Come to think of it, she had autoimmune disease, and her mother did too. And I basically told them, it's going to take like 4 or 5 more sessions, but I can get rid of it and I won't charge you anything. And that's another thing too. I don't charge to remove people's ailments or disease because I could do it in a big group at once, and there's too many people, trying to charge thousands of dollars to get someone better, and it really doesn't really do anything except maybe light up their energy bodies a little bit, but it doesn't expunge the ailment. So I don't charge anything. I make it happen. If someone wants to donate afterwards or after I get them better, then that's okay. But it's not required at all.
And so you also offer your free daily clearings as well, is that
I
right?
do Zoom twice a day. It works remotely. The amount of people doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And basically you sit down, relax, and people have gone over some major health problems due just the group.
That's fascinating. Wonderful. And so let's talk about your post-conference that is on ancient elemental healing. And
Yep.
that's Monday, February 12th at 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. And that is going to be broken into different parts. Can you share with us that one as well?
Yes, so I am going to teach people how to do the elemental earth healing, and I'm going to talk about how to use the spirits of herbs to heal the body from different things and trying to maintain well-being. For the people that have learned earth already that came to my workshop over the summer, I'll be teaching them how to use elemental fire. And elemental fire burns away impurities. And all the elements work in tantrum to um remove different types. So maybe one thing might need to be burned away, while another thing needs to be buried, for example. Or often too, you use the earth for grounding. So the reason why I teach the earth first is for that very reason. People need to be grounded, especially in this sphere.
So that sounds like a wonderful post-conference on ancient elemental healing. So again,
Mhm.
that's going to be on Monday, February 12th at 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. And that will cover elemental earth, elemental fire, elemental spirit, and physical healing. Will you be teaching there as well, or just helping clear?
Oh no, I'll be teaching them how people will be able to do it themselves for themselves.
Oh, great. So this is a practice they can take home.
The practice, the self-practice that they could take home. And some have, since we've done it, have been practicing every day. I also mentor mediums too, by the way. So I might bring one to the conference with me for a Saturday or Friday kind of like session where she'll kind of pick people from the audience or read. So that's a possibility I might do too. Yeah.
Okay, great. Great, great. And is there anything else that we should expect from your workshop or post-conference?
No, I'm just going to, so people, not everyone likes what I say. Not everyone likes what I say. The practices I do are very old. I tend to try to unchange them. There is new information, but these things are still a basis for what I do. So I'm going to talk a lot about that. Um, I'm going to talk about the material. I'm going to talk about what other people are doing without naming names or specifically, but some of it is quite dangerous. So I'll talk about that a little bit too. And I'll be removing some of the those impurities from the past from whoever comes, if they so would like to.
Okay, so you'll be also clearing past life.
I will repair. Well, you can't clear past lives, but you could clear the impurities that came from those.
Right.
But the stuff from this life has to come first. The past life stuff is deeper. When you refine your vision and you narrow it down, you see the energetic bodies as sort of threads or ropes wrapped around somebody. And within each of those threads and ropes, you can identify and make out the various impurities through or stuck to a person. And you can't necessarily go to the bottom one first. You have to work on the outside and go in. And that could take some time. Right now, I have to do it like often for people to get to that core or get to like the deepest level stuff. You can't really go straight in. There's some ways you could sort of do it, but there's so much of it that stuff almost um counterbalances what's already there. So there's only really subtle change in the deep stuff. Recently, a scientist from Stanford University has come to the conclusion through 30 years of study and research. He studies human consciousness, and his understanding, which is the understanding I have too, is that human beings don't have free will, that it's controlled. He doesn't know why. I know why a little bit more, but there's a lot to that. Of course, with that hypothesis, um, pretty quickly he's gotten some detractors. For example, there's a few articles that have popped up say a scientist from Stanford University says people don't have a free will. This is why he's wrong. But he's not wrong. Um, this is kind of like what happens when someone comes up with these types of understandings about the world around us and how it affects us. In the 19th century, the person who came up with germ theory basically lost his license. He was put out of practice because his peers and colleagues thought that this was so preposterous that um, um, just to suggest it is almost blasphemy. And we're seeing the same thing now. And quite honestly, I'm probably going to get the same stuff as I start going out to, I'm going to Parkinson's groups. I'm going to blood cancer group too, where I'm going to start working on people from there too. I have doctors in my group that come to the sessions that have explained, kind of put me in touch with the groups without saying too much, because it's not what I do is not really in people's brains that someone can do, but I do it every day. And people do have they feel an immediate difference, especially when they have an ailment. If it's someone just trying it out, although there's preemptive benefits from to not kind of contract these things, um, it's just one thing to them and they just jump to the next thing. But it does so much more. As you unclear, um, abilities start opening. Abilities start opening if you're consistent. Because we're mostly blocked from those, or most people are. Everyone has something, but we have to get to it. So, like for example, I have one person who's also a doctor too, who decided he just wants to come. He is not sick. Now he only needs to sleep like 4 hours a night. So that was his ability. His energy flow was put in sync in that way. And I have someone else who's been consistent too, who started having premonitions a couple months ago from having no ability. So it takes time for now. I suspect eventually I'll be able to just do it once on somebody, and the clearing will be ongoing until everything's gone. There's a lot of emphasis on evolution, but I disagree with that. The emphasis is, or should be, or the proper emphasis is returning to our original state. Our spirits were born free of impurities, and that's how we should be. Right now, we're not in a world where that's the case, but as hopefully there will be a bigger understanding around that, and we'll be able to move forward that way. Yeah, so a lot of the upgrade stuff is detrimental. It's the wrong direction.
Right. And are there many others who are doing the same practice?
So there are native shaman, there are witches, there are, I mean, these are very few and far between. There are Shinto priests who do it at certain extents. But there are people who are able to identify impurities in people and pull them out. It's just not really a widespread thing. Like my apprentices or the people I mentor, a few of them, they can do it too. And they're learning more and more, but it's just not something really in the public sphere that there's much understanding around that and its importance.
Definitely. So what are you looking forward to when we get closer to the workshop and the Conscious Life Expo? What are you
I
looking?
look forward to it. I hope I can, yeah, I hope I could, change minds about some things and um get people to focus more on life itself, because that's another thing that um this kind of unblocks, like ADHD, like depression, people's ability not be able to focus. It helps them be able to do that a lot more and accomplish a lot more.
And we also look forward to your workshop and
Well, I
your,
look forward to it too. I like teaching people,
yeah,
and I like hearing about the effects that it's had on them.
yes, definitely. So we will share the power of the ancient Japanese ritual free workshop. That's gonna be Sunday, February 10th at
Take
8.
this Saturday. Look out at the front room. There'll be signs up after everything, and I might just be there Friday and Saturday too,
Yeah,
doing this thing.
yeah, we'll keep an eye out on Saturday for you as well. And don't forget the post-conference with Benton Ryer. That's Ancient Elemental Healing Series. Again, that's Monday, February 12th, 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Is there anything else you want to share about that special event?
No, just come with an open mind. You'll be pleasantly surprised. And if you do have an injury or you're sick with something, let me know. If you don't want to announce it to everybody, just let me know and we'll see if we can take care of it for you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank
But
you.
don't discount it. You may be very pleasantly surprised. And you could also see I do have testimonials on my Instagram from people who were happy that I helped them. So you could check those out too. No one's lying for me.
Definitely. Do you have any other social media or a website that you would like to share?
BentonRyer.com. But I'm on Instagram a lot and people tend to send me messages through there. I will answer. Just be patient. If I don't, I'm not ignoring you. It just means I haven't got to you yet.
Wonderful. I'll share the website and the social media link in the description as well. And do you have anything else to share with anybody that's looking forward to your event?
No, not sort of the event, not just to the event too, but anyone else too who thinks they're haunted or maybe they're hearing unwanted voices and think they're going crazy. Often you're not, and I could pull that stuff out too. So, you know, let me know and we'll do that. I had one lady some time ago. She thought she was she had things being thrown around her house. She was hearing stuff. She thought she was going mad. And I was after we cleared it out, I explained to her, you're not, everyone else is. So don't worry about it. How it's not coming back. So that's another thing I do too.
Wonderful. It sounds like there's a many things that you can help with, and that's what we all look forward to. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I look forward to watching this or reviewing it. And yeah, I look forward to the event. I had a lot of fun that last year and the year before.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you, Benton, for joining us on the Conscious Life Expo podcast. And thank you, everybody, for joining us as well. And again, I will be posting the links down below for Benton. And we look forward to Benton's workshop and post-conference at the Expo in 2024. Thank you.
I'll see everyone there.